It's Thursday. It's Friday. It's 2:00, and it's time for Ask Angelika, episode 40. Good afternoon, Angelika.
Good afternoon, Stephen.
Right. Well, will people join us? Welcome to the show. And if you're interested in learning German at all, you are most definitely in the right place to learn German with Angelika, which is what I'm doing this afternoon. And would you like to explain, today's topic is the World Cup. Over to you.
Yes. Now, the topic hasn't changed. The sentences have changed. Or shall I say the sentences aren't quite as I had hoped they would be. Because I thought it would be good, as the World Cup is going on, I thought it would be good to have some German newspaper headlines. And of course, you normally want headlines of football game wins, which sadly hasn't quite happened this time. But I decided we're going to use some German newspaper headlines anyway.
And I decided to sort out my microphone. Thank you, Stephen. Hopefully you can hear me now. Can you just confirm that before we continue? Now, the way this works is that Angelika has supplied phrases in German, and I have to say them and then translate them into English, hopefully. But it helps if people can hear. So if you are watching now and you can hear me speaking, right, okay, thank you. Right, okay, and welcome back, Donald, and thank you. Thank you for that. And these things are sent to try us. We're taking a break after this show, aren't we?
Yes, we're taking a summer break.
and after the last couple of days broadcasting, need one. Right, okay, so the first phrase, der deutsche Fußball im Schockzustand. How about the pronunciation, first of all?
There is a D missing at the end of the word. Der deutsche Fußball im Schockzustand. There should have been a D there.
Right. So we are speaking about, right. Okay. We are speaking about the World Cup. So der deutsche Fußball, the German football, is in shock.
Yeah, or in a state of shock.
German football is in a state of shock. So
you can tell I found all these yesterday after Wednesday's game.
Yes, which we both watched almost to the end, the bitter end. Right, okay, so Schockzustand, that's literally?
Well, Zustand is the state, a position, how you are, and shock is the same as in English, except it's a SCH instead of SH. So
okay,
it's
got it.
German football in a state of shock.
And background to this, if you've not been watching, I know Stephen has, is that Germany lost 0-2 to South Korea on Wednesday and went out to the World Cup. And on with the phrases. Auch ohne Deutschland rollt der Ball weiter.
Ja. Auch ohne Deutschland rollt der Ball weiter.
Also, without Germany, the ball still rolls.
Yeah, it's not quite translated at all as also in this case. It is okay. So yeah, the ball still rolls, or the ball continues to roll, even in this case, the auch, even without Germany. Because of course
so the auch is depending on context then.
Yes.
Right, and Stephen is saying mein klingt ist besser, ja. Danke. Right, okay, now it's phrase 3. I'm going to come back to that in a moment, Wunderbar. Britain verlohnen DFB-Team nach WM aus.
It's wunderbar. Briten verhöhnen DFB-Team nach WM aus. Lovely bit of letter practice there. alphabet practice.
Right. The first part is in quotes, so this is a quotation from somewhere.
Yeah.
Where does it actually come from?
Well, this was a German. This still was a headline or a text in a German paper or German online website. But it's Wunderbar. I'm not sure which one it comes from, but it's the next word that tells you where it roughly came from.
Britain.
Yeah, Britain are the Brits. Yeah, the Briten, those are the Brits. And what did they do?
Well,
what probably are they still doing?
We're a little bit ungentlemanly, and we didn't play the game. We played the man, and we sort of said mockingly, "It's wonderful." Because the DFB team have exited the World Cup. Now, DFB stands for Deutscher Fußball
Bund.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we weren't totally British about this. We were, well, I mean, it's 1938 since this last happened, which is outside our memories. 80 years ago since similar events took place. And there's always been this saying that the German team has been a wonderful team for 79 years. No argument there, because they've won everything that's been put before them. Anyway, let's get on with the show as we learn some more football terms. WM Albtraum.
WM Albtraum.
And this is the World Cup.
Yeah.
WM.
Yeah, stands for Weltmeisterschaft.
Okay.
Yeah, so World Championship.
Okay. So Traum is dream.
Yeah.
And Alp, bad?
Yeah, well, on its own it's not really used, but it is a bad dream, or what do we call a bad dream?
Nightmare.
Nightmare. Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
It is. It definitely was.
World Cup nightmare. And we say hello to Kristen. Thank you for joining us, Kristen. And we have another comment. Right, and Donald's translated it too as nightmare. Thank you, Donald. And Stephen saying 4 stars on the German shirts, 1 in English. Says it. Well, yes. I mean, we're being sporting about this, aren't we, Stephen? Because we know that this is the exception, not the rule. So phrase number 5. Again, this is from the newspaper, isn't it?
Yes, I think these were a few phrases now rather than just one headline. So we get a few sentences now. They all came from the same sort of subheading. Okay.
So peinliches DFB aus nach. I know I'm going to get this wrong because you told me about it. I'm going to go 0-2 gegen Südkorea.
Yeah, we normally add the word zu in there. 0-2.
Oh, so, right. I got the 0 bit right because you teased me about that yesterday.
No, that's fine. Peinliches DFB aus nach 0-2 gegen Südkorea.
Right. So we've established that DFB is the Deutsche Fußballbund, which is the German football team. What's the difference between Bund and Mannschaft?
Well, no, Bund is the whole organization. Die Mannschaft, that's the team, or just known as the team, die Mannschaft.
Right. Okay.
But of course, it is bad for the whole football association, not just for those 11 players.
That's true. So it was after a 0-2 gegen loss against South Korea.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leaves us with peinliches, which I haven't heard before.
Well, the adjective is peinlich. The es is there because it's in front of the noun, and peinlich is embarrassing.
So embarrassing for Germany after a 2-0 defeat by Korea. Which,
yeah.
Okay.
And it was certainly, or it still is, embarrassing.
Not for long.
No. We don't care, really, do we?
Phrase number 6. Das ist die größte I was going to say blamage, but that would be French. I'm going to mispronounce that one, so we'll come back to it. Der deutschen WM Gesichten. So blamage is not pronounced like that, is it?
Well, actually, it more or less is, because it does come from the French. So das ist die größte Blamage. So it's slightly Germanized, really. Der deutschen WM-Geschichte.
So what's the difference between Peinliches and Blamage?
We could have said Peinlichkeit, but for some reason, sometimes you have more than one word for the same meaning. And blamage seems to have sneaked in long time ago. It's been Germanized nicely.
Yeah.
It could have been something else, yes.
Das ist die größte Blamage der deutschen WM-Geschichte.
Geschichte. Geschichte, yeah.
Okay. Das ist die größte. This is the biggest embarrassment the German team has seen.
Not quite. So of the German WM, again, Weltmeisterschaft, World Cup, history. Geschichte is history.
This is the biggest embarrassment in German World Cup history.
It certainly is.
Okay. And phrase 7. Erstmals scheitert unsere Mannschaft in einer Runde. Pronunciation?
Vorrunde. Erstmals scheitert unsere Mannschaft in einer Vorrunde.
So Mannschaft is team.
Yeah.
Erstmals sometime?
No, sort of like the first time.
First time.
For the first time, yeah.
Ah, right. I don't know. I'm not. Vorrunde. Was ist Vorrunde?
Well, Runde is a round. And Vorrunde is the round before the main round. Or the, I can't even say it now, preliminary round.
Vorrunde. So it's the first round, the preliminary round, right, when they're in groups of 4. And it's the first time that the German team have ever been knocked out of the competition at that stage. So the first time our team fails.
Yeah, scheitern is to fail. Yeah.
Right, and to soften the blow a bit, Angelika, Stephen's saying try being English if you want embarrassing at the World Cup. We specialise in it. Although we don't know yet. Too
exactly.
early.
Well, we'll see. It seems to be that all the big ones are on their way out a little bit. So maybe it's about time as well. But I didn't say that, okay?
Well, we talked about it earlier. I mean, basically, sports teams, and their form goes in cycles. And they go from good to bad form as the team evolves. And you've been in good form for 79 years. I don't think that's a problem.
Exactly. And every game, every football game has a winning team and a losing team. And you can't always be on the winning team as much as you like to. So I'm not quite such a big football fan that I'm really that worried about it. And I'm sure the German football team will survive.
I'm sure they will. And normally we go with the German phrase and then the English phrase. But for the last phrase of today, we're going the other way around. Angelika will explain. And phrase number 8 is public viewing.
And that's the German phrase. Right.
Oh, that is the German phrase.
It's both. We've got a little bit of wordplay coming here. The first thing is public viewing is a German word, and it's used when there is a football game, a big one, and they have this huge screen somewhere in the open, and the public can come and watch it. So everybody can come and watch it. You don't have to go into the stadium to pay for it. You're watching it. And when they started with this, they obviously couldn't think of a nice, concise name of naming this event. So they called it public viewing, which probably still does now cause a bit of raised eyebrows or laughter, because, of course, public viewing can mean something completely different.
So it can. That's the way I took it to be first time you mentioned it.
Yes, because that's when somebody has died and they have the body laying there, and people can go and view it. The public can go and view it. Yeah. So the last newspaper headline I found is where they've used public viewing, but they've actually used the proper German translation for it,
which I shall now mispronounce. Offentliche Leichenschau.
Öffentliche Leichenschau.
Leichenschau, missed the I out again. Okay. So they did a literal translation, and it doesn't have the right now.
Well, öffentlich is public.
I know you've been a great sport to come on today and talk about the World Cup and Germany getting knocked out, and we've explained what happened, and we've said that this is the first bump in 80 years. But what I'd like to do is, if we can end on a positive note about German football and about public viewing, and just tell the short story about an English gentleman who found himself at a public viewing in Germany amongst a crowd of Germans.
Oh, we should really have that person on the screen now, shouldn't we? Because that was one of... Yeah, well, he's almost there. That was one of my blog posts, which I didn't write. And if you read it now and you look at the title of the blog post, which says German football wins again, you'll probably think like, yeah, she's got that one wrong, hasn't she? But it's actually Stephen's guest post, because I've actually never been to a public viewing of a football game, never mind a German football game. But he went to one quite a while ago, and I'm trying to remember the whole story now, but I'm sure I'd do the concise version. So he went to a football game in Germany when Germany played England, and Germany, as it was tradition then, won on penalties, which Gary Lineker now says is not the case anymore, and he's getting rid of all that. But so he was the only one, or at least in the area where he was the only English fan amongst all the Germans. And when Germany started to get all the penalties in and it looked like they were winning, he was getting a little bit worried, being the only English person there. So the game finished and he thought he'd better disappear pretty quickly when somebody said to him, oh no, I can't remember now. What was it?
What you've forgotten this? This is the script.
Yes, but I haven't got it in front of me.
It was, yes, I know. It was winning on penalties wasn't good. Is what we said.
I think that's what it was. A German person said to him, losing on penalties isn't very good. And to which he agreed. And then another German person said, winning on penalty isn't that good either. And then they said, do you fancy a drink? And then they went and had a few pints of beer. And he said that was a really nice experience because it could have turned out completely different.
Totally. I mean, that's German hospitality and German sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the team will get back its mojo and go on to good things again. Just a shout out for England playing Colombia on Monday. This has been Angelika and Stephen. Angelika, would you like to explain or say a few words before we actually finish the show?
Yes, we're taking a summer break. We did this last year over the summer holidays. We're starting school holidays, starting a little bit earlier because in 2 weeks' time you're actually not there. And I can't teach you any words if you're not there. That's a bit silly. So we're starting our summer break now, and we'll be back on the 7th of September with hopefully lots of new ideas, unless anybody else has got some that they would love us to cover, then please let me know.
Indeed, and we'll be totally refreshed.
Yeah.
So From Wiltshire in England, it's goodbye from Stephen and
Tschüss von mir.
bye everybody.